Hi everyone, welcome back to JPWHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're all doing well as I always do. This is the sequel to the previous video I did where we're discussing the West Ham players. In the last video, we talked about the goalkeepers and the defenders. This video, we're concentrating purely on the midfield players. As always, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website. But as you can see from the icon that's up here, there's also Admiral and Umbro claret and blue track jackets, polo shirts, sweatshirts and t-shirts, so go check those out. Any purchases you make through the link in the description below, the commission that the channel would normally be getting, as always, when there are any purchases, which are few and far between at the moment, I will be sending the commission over to the charity Iron Supporting Food Banks. They're based in the Newham area, and they're helping those in the Newham area and also the West Ham contingent in Essex and further afield of Essex as well, for that matter. They've been doing that for the last 3 to 4 years now. I've known about them for the last 2 or 3, and I've been doing the shout outs for the last 2 years straight for these guys as part of this, because at the end of the day, I want to help these people. They are helping people that are in very, very difficult times of their lives, struggling to use food banks to put food on their tables, guys. So the more money we can donate to this charity, and the more people we can help. And I know you guys like to help people. I know you do. So go grab yourself a really nice retro shirt. There's bound to be Christmas sales going on in the website as well. You'll be saving yourself a few quid on top of anything else as well, and you'll be helping those that are less fortunate than you and I. So guys, let's talk about the midfield players. I won't be talking about the attacking midfield players in terms of like Ben Rama and Jared Bowen. Those are really forwards in my opinion, so that'll be for the last video. There will be timestamps in the description as well, so you can jump forward to any player that you want to look at, but ideally I'd like you to stick around and watch as much as you can, and of course put your comments in the comments section below, because we've got a lot to talk about. Okay, so the first player we're going to talk about is brand new arrival Flynn Downes. He's 23 years old. He's 5'8". He's a centre midfielder, but can play defensive midfield and also attacking midfield. But can't really play it all that well, as we've seen from Moyes trying to smash him into that area. Flynn has had 162 appearances in all competitions, but only scoring 4 goals and 1 assist. Now that's not brilliant in any shape or form, but we can understand the reasons why at the same point. His average passes per game per season of 53.21, which is not bad. 10.66 key passes on average per season. 80.66% successful pass rate again per game per season, and 92% pass completion rate on average per game per season. So to be honest with you, that's pretty good. That is actually pretty good in terms of his abilities. Now that is including all the games that he's played for West Ham since we signed him in the summer. A very, very talented player. He's got a big potential and a very good career ahead of him, as long as he can keep himself a little bit more what's the word? I was going to say restricted. Restricted's not the word. A little bit more. I can't say professional either. It's kind of I was about to say the word and then the words just jumped out of my head. But he just needs restrained. If he can restrain himself just a little bit more in terms of his challenges, because he can get booked. He's not as bad as other players we've had that have been booked every other game, like Sam Byram, for example. But he's filling us with a lot of confidence so far this season, and we'll talk about him more at the end of the season to give him a full assessment. The next player we're going to talk about is Pablo Fornals. He's 26 years old, 5'8", attacking midfield player, but is mostly made out in the central mid and also out on the left. His contract runs out in summer of 24, so we've got him for a little while yet. 312 appearances and all goals in all appearances. I should say. In all competitions, 36 goals and 40 assists. Not bad. That's basically about setting up or scoring a goal once every 9-point-something games. That's not bad. That's not bad in any shape or form. 909.33 passes on average per season. 29.66 key passes on per season. 59.33% successful pass rate on average per game per season. And 78.94 pass completion rate on average per game per season. Now, I know those aren't brilliant stats, and that's one of the reasons why I love Pablo Fornals so much, because he should be taking players and going for goal more than he is. When we first signed him, I was one of the very few people that backed him straight away, and that Chelsea away win under Pellegrini with that 1-0 victory from that Creswell game, he was outstanding. 1-0 goal, sorry, I should say. He from Creswell, he was outstanding in that game. Everybody noticed what Pablo Fornals was about, and I'd been saying it right from the start of that season how much of a potential this guy is. Yes, okay, his work rate is fantastic, but his completions and goals and everything else is poor. It is bad, but he is getting better, and we need to give him a little bit more time as a fan base and as a club as well. He needs to play more football. I mean, look at what happened in the Europa Conference League games. Been phenomenal. Scored some unbelievably good goals and set up a few people as well. Now, the next player we're going to talk about is Manuel Lanzini, 29 years old, 5'4", attacking midfielder with but also it's more now down to the defensive midfield position and also out on the left. His contract expires this summer, so potentially he could be off in the January unless we give him an extension. I'm not sure either way, to be honest with you. I haven't seen any rumblings about Lanzini properly being linked anywhere. We've seen the usual crap that comes up in 90 minutes and goal and all the rest of it, but nothing really concrete, but we'll find out in the next few weeks. Lanzini's had 369 appearances in all competitions, scoring 56 and setting up 56 goals and setting up 56 goals as well, so 56 assists. It's unreal. 549.69 passes per season, just on average. It's brilliant. So good. 11.33 key passes per game per season, 91.33 successful pass rate per game per season, and 88.80 pass completion rate on average per game per season. Phenomenal. Absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why we sing that he plays the West Ham way. It's just phenomenal. As I say, these stats are only made up for the last 3 years of Footy Stats. For some random reason, the website doesn't go further back than 3 seasons, including this season. So it was only really 2 seasons plus. So, but it's just, we just know how good he is. We really know how good Manuel Lanzini is. If he goes in the January or he leaves in the summer on a free, it will be a shame, because he's a very, very pivotal part of this club. The only problem is he's not so much anymore because of his injuries. He's never been the same since picking up that knee injury. Likewise, the same way that Winston Reid was never the same sort of player. But he still has it. He's still a very, very good defensive midfielder. It would be a shame if we got rid of him over the next 6 months, 6 to 7 months or so. But yeah, it's just, I can understand the reasons why. He's coming towards the end of his career age-wise. He's probably got another year, maybe 2 left in him. But yeah, I mean, let's not forget he was with us towards the end of the beginning of Bilic struck the end of Allardyce, because I'm sure Allardyce was looking at him was before he came in. It was just, he's such a good player, and it will be a big loss. But football moves on, and talking of which, the brand new signing, Lucas Paqueta, as you're supposed to pronounce. I know we all call him Paqueta, but his nickname is after the island that he was born from, or came from. So it's Paqueta. He's 25 years old, so almost at the peak of his career. 5'9", attacking midfielder, centre midfield, and also can play defensive midfield as well. And certainly has been for his national team. He's had 201 appearances at the time of this recording, 35 goals and 24 assists. Obviously, that's going to be 36 goals now that he scored the other night, and 202 appearances. But 652 passes on average per season, which is phenomenal. 20.33 key passes on average per season, 84.66% successful pass rate on average per game per season, and an 82.54% pass completion rate on average per game per season. Just, you can't honestly, you can't argue with his stats. You really can't. It's just unbelievable the potential this kid's got. There is an argument that he should be defensive midfield alongside either Soucek or Wally Downes. I keep saying Wally Downes. Fuck's sake. Flynn Downes. Apologies. But yeah, it's the guy again. We're going to reserve judgment until the end of the season, but he's just his link-up play with our forwards is just unreal. It really, really is unreal. Such a good potential in there. Really, really is. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Now, coming to the man of the moment in more ways than one. Declan Rice, 23 years old, a little bit under 6'2", defensive midfielder, and of course broke through as a centre back. He's had 248 appearances in all competitions at the time of this recording. As we know, his contract runs out in June of 24. He scored 11 goals and 12 assists in those appearances. 1,529 average passes per game per season, which is just per season I should say, not per game. He doesn't work that hard. 1,529 passes on average per season, which is phenomenal. 21.66% key passes on average per season. 89.33% successful pass completion rate per game, and 90.01 pass completion rate on average per game. Now, this is quite nicely timed, because obviously, as we know from the fallout of last week, his comments at the World Cup. Now, again, as it always is, that clip is taken out of context. I know a lot of people are going mental on it, and I totally understand it. The actual thing is the fact that he was said, you know, your how do you feel about your teammates in the England team being in playing in the competitions of the Champions League, and is that something you want? And then obviously we know what Declan Rice's answer is. Counter arguments on both sides. One, we've said this many times on the channel, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm not doing a video on my own solely on it because it's just not worth it. He has said this many times, and I've praised Dex for saying this. I really, really have praised him, saying, I want to win things. I want to win trophies. He's been saying it for 2 years. At least the last 2 years. The reason why he went from the Republic of Ireland to England was because he felt he stood more of a chance of winning it than he did with Ireland. And fair enough, that's his opinion. Rightly or wrongly, that's his opinion. And likewise, again with that interview, that's his opinion. I want a player in the squad that wants to win things. I don't want people that are just going to be like the old days, stand up, come round and just turn up for the paycheck. Don't want that in any shape or form. Will Declan Rice go in the summer? Unfortunately, it looks like it will now. It really, really does, especially if England go on and have a phenomenal World Cup once again. You know, we had a really good World Cup 4 years ago, got to the semi-final, and there was arguments in there, but that we should have done better against Croatia. You know, obviously we should have done better against Italy. The very negative tactics in the Euro final last year. And of course, you know, it's going on to be a fantastic competition. There's 4 West Ham players at the time of this recording still in the World Cup. It's phenomenal. Really, really, really is good. Of course, not all in the same squad, but yeah, it's Declan Rice is ambitious, and I want that in a player. I do, but money, and this is what I've been saying for a long, long time. This is what happens when you have a bunch of owners that are more interested in money than ambition. Yeah, there's no argument that our owners are capitalists. Yeah, they think throwing a contract at him of £250,000 a season, sorry, £250,000 a week, I should say, is gonna solve it. It's not in any shape or form. It really isn't gonna solve Declan Rice's ambitions. It isn't. It's just not. It's not going to be a good compensation for it. It's not. And yes, okay, the counter argument to the original part, what I've been saying, was yes, he could have handled it better. He could have done what was it Mbappe, I think it was, or whoever it was, in when he was asked about Jude Bellingham, sorry, when he was asked about his future, said I'm focusing on the competition at the moment. That's not, and someone else has said it as well. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, no, it was Bellingham. He said because it'd be disrespectful about my club. And that's the right way to do it. That is generally the right way to do it. But as I say, at the same point, Dex is a very, very open and honest man. comes from the same neck of the woods that I grew up in, so it's totally understandable he was going to give that answer rightly. I mean, my videos piss people off. That's why this channel isn't growing that high, because I'm honest. I don't say to you guys that are watching these videos, I don't give you the clickbait stuff, and I don't give you the every Tom, Dick and Harry story that is floating about, because most of them are just exactly that. They're just stories. It's just all bullshit made by journalists who've got nothing better to do because there's nothing else to talk about bar the World Cup. But but at the same point, I respect Dex for what he said. He was completely open and honest, as he always is. It will be a real shame. I'm not going to lie, guys. He is a big fish in the West Ham little pond. He really is. He really, really is, and you're naive to say we're going to keep him. The club has genuinely done everything that they possibly can to keep him. We really, really have. We brought in some fantastic players. Excuse me, a really bad win for some random reason. Talking about this, they've brought in some fantastic players. Next level from one point of view. Not the next level, but next level players, if you know what I mean, to get us into the top six sort of ideas, and it's just not working out for one reason or another. You can say it's Moyes, you can say it's the players, it's a combination of both, as I've always said. But we'll talk about that it's more to do with the forwards video. But as I say, I want to keep him, of course, but I will absolutely respect the fact that if he goes to a bigger side, I really, really will respect it. As long as he doesn't do a Paul Ince stroke Frank Lampard Jr. way of doing it, then I'll clap him every single time that he plays. I don't see his comments as a dig to West Ham in any shape or form. Like I said, he was just purely answering in an honest way. And that's it. Sorry guys, I've had to do a jump cut there because there was a bit of a problem with the machine that I use for my notes. But the last player we're going to talk about is Tomas Soucek, 27 years old, just under 6'3", defensive midfielder, but also can play centre mid as well. Kind of. His contract expires in the summer of 24. He's had 310 appearances with 61 goals and 20 assists in those appearances in all competitions, which is phenomenal. 1,156 points, 33 passes on average per season, 15.33 key passes on average per season, 55% successful pass rate, and an average pass rate of per game, I should say, and a 76.3 pass completion rate on average per game. His last 3 seasons have been unbelievably consistent when it comes to pass completion rate. They've been genuinely between 75 and 76% for the last 2 of the 3 seasons. It's been phenomenal. He is such a good player. Now, the argument to this is down to the fact that he's like this because, the criticism he's been getting is because Rice is not sitting back the way that he used to, which is one of the reasons why Soucek was able to bomb forward and score as much as he used to. If and when Rice does leave the club, and we have Flynn Downes in his position, or Paqueta I should say, in his position, then it's just. We really should have something on the books from that point of view. But as I say, once we have two defensive midfielders in that again, Soucek can again boss it up on front field and up the top of the field and really start scoring again. And that's the reason why he's been getting some criticisms, because he's not doing that as often, because Rice is trying to do that. But at the same time, guys, I love Thomas. He's frustrating because he's out of practice in those positions from one point of view, but at the same point, I think he's a phenomenal player. So thank you very much for your time, guys. As always, as I say, put your comments in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. It's interesting to see that only Lanzini and Rice have a better successful pass completion percentage than Cresswell. I said in the previous video, Cresswell's numbers are phenomenal when it comes to that, and only these two have had the better successful pass rate. And I do think, especially when it comes to Lanzini, I do think a lot of people haven't noticed it. But anyway, guys, thank you very, very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope you have a fantastic one. We'll do the forwards video. I know some of it overlaps with the forwards, but I didn't want to have too much in the midfield video, but we've gone on for longer than I wanted to, mostly because of the Rice conversation. But yeah, guys, thank you very, very much for your time. Have a great weekend. Look out for the content. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the notification bell and set your notifications to all so you get to know when new content is going up. And I will see you very, very soon. All the best now. Take care.